extra push and support. Under this umbrella, you're able to achieve that, and the impact they...
And feeling compelled to act in a much more public way, which is what...
The only wrong thing to say is to say nothing.
Paris showed up like the world was holding its breath. Fireworks, flashing lights, heels hitting marble, and in a blink, everything froze. The cameras popped, the chatter dropped, and for a second, the whole room went quiet. You could feel that shift. Smiles landed on cue, but the vibe? Oh, it dipped. Something about the energy just...
Surprise at Paris Fashion Week. The Duchess of Sussex spotted sitting front row at the debut show.
Flattened. You know that moment when a night meant to explode in applause suddenly feels like someone hit mute? That's exactly what this was. She walks in, not a second too soon, not a beat too late, like the timing had been rehearsed 100 times over. Every head turns, every flash blooms, every lens knows where to look. The pivot, perfect. The chin, steady. The look, sharp enough to slice through tension. But even then, something's off. The room holds. You can feel it. There's that tiny pause after the flashes die, and everyone's waiting for the rise. But it doesn't come. Smiles freeze halfway, eyes trail her for a heartbeat, and then just like that, drift back to their own conversations.
Now, I don't know if I can get 3 in a row in terms of people you want to stick around.
Like, okay, noted. From a distance, it looks flawless. The fabric hits the light just right, her steps measured and smooth. Everything that could photograph perfectly does. But up close, you can see it. The caution, the politeness, people giving her space, not excitement. The greetings stop at, hello, no extra warmth, no lean-ins. The soundtrack of the room isn't gasps or chatter. It's the hum of conversations that never break rhythm. Courteous, polished, but not buzzing. The air's tight, like everyone agreed to keep the energy low.
Paris, she's actually maybe doesn't realize she's approaching the tunnel where Diana died. And then she shows herself.
It's almost eerie. Everything about her entrance is technically perfect, and the posture, the pacing, the turn, all on mark. But that spark, it's stuck somewhere behind the smiles. You can see the calculation in people's faces, even if they never show it. Who's near who, what this means, what the cameras will say later. Nobody's being cold, just careful. Like there's an unspoken rule to keep things calm, polite, and far from scandal.
When we first see her, I believe in the night, I want you to look at this walk and tell me what your
hands stay on clutches, eyes scan, not stare. The restraint is almost louder than the applause that never comes. Phones come up for a quick snap, then instantly disappear. Shoulders tilt in acknowledgement, but no one steps closer. Laughter stays pocket-sized, polite, never spilling into the room. Even the floor seems to hush the moment. The acoustics fold the sound inward, like the building itself doesn't want to echo what's happening.
The new storm brewing around Meghan Markle, the wife of Prince Harry, all has started with an Instagram.
She glides through the walkway, a moving piece of geometry. Space opens for her, then closes again like automatic doors. A pause here, a half smile there, a look that says, I see you, without, come say hi. It's photogenic restraint, beautiful to the lens, distant to the crowd. You know that moment when the beat drops perfectly but nobody jumps? That's what this feels like. Everything looks flawless, but it's just too controlled. Glossy on top, guarded underneath. You can spot it once and then you see it everywhere. The spacing, the careful posture, the muted applause. It's a visual masterpiece that somehow never breathes. The story this entrance tells? Perfection, yes, but connection, not yet.
Meghan Markle in these videos and pictures from Paris, she seems kind of drugged out. She seems kind of fit.
It's like the night's waiting for permission to feel something. And that hesitation, that's the headline. Maybe the room's holding judgment. Maybe it's just matching her composure. Either way, the message lands clear. Presentation, flawless. Energy, contained. The cameras go wild anyway, hungry for their photo dump. The frames, gorgeous. Every angle perfect. But the people, they're not leaning in. They're staying measured. The lens eats it up. The shimmer, the angles, the fabric glinting like it knows its worth. But the room tells a different story. The glances, the polite nods, the quiet drift back to small talk.
Paris was supposed to be Meghan Markle's grand fashion comeback. Her first appearance at Paris Fashion Week, sitting front row at
It's as if the crowd collectively decided, beautiful, but let's not overreact. Even photographers move like chess players, crab walking for better lines but never breaking formation. VIPs glance, nod, and pivot back to their own clicks. A stylist halfway raises a wave, then stops midair, shelving it. A publicist checks their phone, pockets it, and plants themselves like, we're good here. It's not cold. It's just careful. Like invisible tape marks the social lanes. Everyone's staying within their square. The camera sees glamour, but the room whispers not yet. The looks, the nods, the polite half smiles.
Industry built on proximity, Meghan had become untouchable. Not because of scandal in the tabloids, but because of something more.
They're acknowledgments, not warmth. It's etiquette on display. Greetings stay at nod distance. Compliments arrive from across the room like paper airplanes. No hugs, no touch, just words tossed safely over space. Voices low, hands occupied, bodies careful not to blur boundaries. It's social choreography. Every move rehearsed. Heels click in rhythm, laughter pops then dissolves, flashes tick like metronomes. No cheers, no rush, no chaos. Just this calm, curated pulse. Even body language plays along. Shoulders angled away just enough to observe, not engage.
Picture this. Meghan Markle strutting out of Paris hotel like she's just won America's Next Top Duchess.
Feet steady, no leaning in, no turning out. The entire room is performing control. And this pattern, it keeps repeating, little details stacking up. Lanes open just long enough for the perfect shot, then seal again. A chair stays empty a beat longer, just enough to avoid overlap. Eye contact lands, then releases. You can't call it snub, but it's not welcome either. Attention's on her, yes, but warmth, on hold. That's what stands out. It's not one big reaction, it's the ratio. So many clicks, so little connection. The whole thing looks beautiful on camera, but somehow it doesn't feel alive. The message couldn't be clearer. Pictures, yes. Pile-on, number. 2 frames, same week, but completely different stories. One is pure fashion fantasy, glossy, tailored, flawless. The other, service-driven, grounded, deliberate. Both stunning, but when you put them side by side, you start to wonder. Fashion demands spectacle. Advocacy demands sincerity. When those two crash into each other, the vibe can get confused. Stack them too close together, and suddenly everyone in the room is doing quiet math. Does the glamour soften the purpose? Or does the purpose redeem the shine? No one says it out loud, of course, but you can see it. The caution, the curiosity. Everyone's waiting to see what tone wins, sparkle or substance. Because in moments like this, sequence matters more than anyone admits. If you lead with flash, the follow-up has to fight to be taken seriously. And if you start with purpose, any glam that follows risks feeling off-key. The tone can't just flip like a switch, it has to settle. Every detail, the length of a pause, the warmth of a smile, the weight of eye contact, it all decides how the story lands. Front row energy screams for volume. Service moments whisper for clarity. Put them side by side, and suddenly, you're walking a tightrope. One wrong move, and poise turns into pretense. Even posture matters. What sells confidence on a runway can feel too much in a quiet room. A camera-ready pose can look powerful in one space and performative in another. Same outfit, same angle. 2 completely different readings depending on context. It's not about right or wrong, it's about perception. And attention, it's rhythm. Big moments spike, quiet ones simmer. If your week starts loud, your follow-up needs breathing room. Less dazzle, more depth. Because if you don't give people space to feel the meaning, they'll just remember the glitter. So the goal becomes balance, making sure the message doesn't drown in leftover sparkle. That's where the magic of pacing comes in. Lighting, spacing, even how long someone stays in frame, it all tells the audience what to feel. What this Paris week wanted wasn't perfection. It was coherence. Not a script, just a story that feels aligned. When the visuals and the message sync, people lean in. When they clash, they pull back. And you could feel the crowd testing that alignment, scanning her smile, her stance, her rhythm. So picture this, Paris Fashion Week. Flashing lights bouncing off velvet ropes, champagne flutes glinting in the hands of the elite, and every phone lifted like a halo. The front row glamour, suddenly old news. The car window, trending. A 10-second snippet just dethroned a designer gown. It's like the hierarchy of the night flipped. The outfit, the seat, the pose, all secondary now. The world only wants to talk about the reflection in the glass. Meghan Markle in Paris, one commentator mocks. More desperate than Emily in Paris, and nowhere near as entertaining. Long-form journalism builds a story. Social platforms build a storm. It's 2 different languages. One speaks in paragraphs, the other in gasps. And that's where Meghan's Paris moment lives, right between them. She walked into the night expecting elegance, but the timeline saw strategy. Let's talk about framing, because this is where things get spicy. When an editor trims a video, slows it down, or freezes a half smile, it doesn't lie. It reshapes reality. And that's the difference between what happened and what people remember. A cropped frame that cuts out the crowd makes the subject look isolated. A slowed clip adds drama. A paused smirk suddenly looks like shade. And that's the power of digital storytelling. It doesn't need words, just timing. Now, think about thumbnails. Those tiny, perfect squares that rule the internet. They decide what goes viral before you even click. Bold type, sharp contrast, a face mid-expression, a frozen second that screams louder than context ever could. That's the thumbnail economy, and Meghan's Paris moment. Oh, it's tailor-made for it. The algorithms adore her, or at least what she represents. Mystery, luxury, controversy. The holy trinity of engagement. If a clip can loop smoothly, spark a debate, or inspire duets, it wins. And Meghan's window reflection checks every box. This isn't genius, one influencer snarked. This is a fool who thinks subtlety is strategy. Brutal. But the comments kept coming. Some defended her. She's reclaiming her narrative. Others mocked her. She's auditioning for season 4 of The Crown. The truth? The internet doesn't care which side is right, it just loves having sides. And the saddest part? Context never catches up, because by the time a serious piece comes out with balanced reporting, the memes have already buried it. The internet moves faster than clarity. That's why the first clip that lands well becomes the truth for most people. Everything after is just noise. One viral frame can rewrite an entire night. The polished photos say comeback queen. The viral video says calculated actress. Both can't be true. But online, they can both trend. One asks, how does this fit? The other asks, will this travel? And travel always wins. So what happens next? The Paris Fashion Week morphs from a red carpet event to a case study. Suddenly it's about tone, control, and narrative management. Meghan expected thunder. What she got was quiet confusion. The next event in her schedule flips the mood. Gone is the blinding glamour. The lights are softer, the tone steady. The crowd, once stiff, now attentive. Phones lower, heads tilt forward. People aren't watching her. They're listening. Same woman, same face, different energy. And that's when it clicks. The earlier spectacle was the setup. This? The message. Her smile now looks grounded, her gestures smaller, intentional. Every word lands clean. No drama, no noise, just focus. The chaos has burned off. This room doesn't want performance. It wants purpose. The wardrobe reflects that. Calm colors, classic lines, shapes that whisper confidence instead of shouting it. Every movement feels timed, not to impress, but to connect. Applause comes steady, not wild. The buzz has settled into respect. For once, she's not being watched, she's being heard. And that's the irony, isn't it? The same woman who walked into Paris for attention ended up finding her footing in silence. The first act made headlines, the second earned acknowledgement. By the end of the week, the narrative shifts. The gossip fades into something softer. The front row dazzle? It did its job. It got people looking. The calm follow-up? It gave them something to understand. And together, they form a complete arc. Spectacle followed by sincerity. Reach is easy. Coherence takes work. Anyone can buy attention. But building trust? That's the art. And that's what Paris reminded her. The flash gets you seen, but consistency keeps you remembered. The night began with glamour and ended with grounding. From red carpets to reflections, from whispers to wonder. Meghan's Paris trip told a story no press release ever could. And when the cameras stopped clicking, what lingered wasn't noise. It was the question. Was this the comeback she wanted, or the one she needed? So tell me, what do you think? Was this Meghan's silent triumph or her quiet misstep? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more royal drama, because this tea, it's never cold.